We now have Marinella van Welsenes with us from Norway on Skype. Marinella will give us an overview of the labor market in Norway, some job searching advice, and give us insights in the living and working conditions in Norway. So, Marinella, you are from the Netherlands yourself, if I'm correct. How did you end up in Norway?
Actually, I live 10 years here now, but I have been a foreign student here in 1995 by the Erasmus program. So I moved back after some years, and if you love skiing and scuba diving and all these things, then Norway is the best country to live, and that's why I moved here.
How would you describe the national labor market in Norway in terms of available vacancies?
To say it very easy, Norway is going well. The unemployment rate is still between 2.5–3%. We need always skilled personnel, but it should be persons educated in health, engineering, sales, especially those who speak the Norwegian language.
Yes, okay, I understood that Norway is some sort of Europe's version of Saudi Arabia or Dubai. Is this correct?
In a way it is, but we have like the latest developments in the investments in the oil and gas sector. They made it possible that Norway is still going strong.
And what kind of vacancies have you brought with you to the Nordic working job days?
Actually, in the Nordic working job days, we have the municipality, Bremanger. They need electricians, carpenters, cooks, plumbers, truck drivers. We have also a staffing agency. It's really in need of different engineers. And we have two big hospitals who really are in need of specialists. But I won't go in details here. I think it's best that people just check the homepage and actually also have a look at the nav.no and fin.no homepage, because that's like the most important job sites, job search engines in Norway. However, they are in the Norwegian language, but it's really, really common in Norway that people just apply for jobs directly at the firm. So also send open applications.
So just so I get it right there, it's nav.no.
Yes.
And the second one, how do you...
FINN, F from Finland, INN.no. That are the two biggest Norwegian job search engines.
Okay, but can you tell us a little bit about the working conditions in terms of salary and working hours in Norway?
Approximately 37.5 hours is the normal working day, or working week, between 37 and 40 hours a week. And if you compare the salaries, it's approximately between 4.5 or 5,000 euros a month before taxes, and then you should say taxes 1/3 of the income.
Is this for an engineer, or what kind of...
Actually, this is what I just took as a general average salary. So it looks quite high. The wages are quite high in Norway, but you should remember that's very, very expensive on living here. The costs of living are very high in Norway.
Have you placed employees or job seekers from Netherlands before in your career as a EURES advisor?
I'm now working as a EURES advisor for 7 years, and I have been a lot in contact with Dutch people. But however, they find their way. Dutch people, mostly families, graduates, trainees, they are really, really like doing their best themselves, and they made their own way, because most of them just easily find a job if they speak the language and if they have been learning language in the Netherlands.
But are there any, and since you have a Dutch background yourself, are there any important cultural differences that a job seeker from the Netherlands should be aware of when they apply for jobs in Norway?
I think we are very common. We are very similar as people. It's not easy to adapt. I think as well that you should be aware of that it's not such a big hierarchy. So it's very flat in Norway, that your boss is not on the top, but your boss is actually quite a good friend and you can ask him everything. That's like one thing I think is something different from Holland.
Can you tell us about the extra work activities in Norway? How is it to live in this country?
You mean but for the job seekers who want to apply for jobs here, if there's some extra special advice we can think about now?
No, I mean, more, can you describe like what is life like in Norway compared to the Netherlands, who is a very dense country with a big population? If you look on the area, I guess that differs a lot from Norway.
Yeah, there is a lot more space in this country. There is a good living and working environment. As soon as you have the job, it's a very, very good country to live in. Like I said, there are not many cultural differences. I love the 4 seasons. It's like the summer and the winter and the real spring and the real autumn. But if you compare it with the working environment, I should say we are quite similar to the Dutch system. Just that I think that about hierarchy is a little bit different here.
And how about the diversity of Norway? Is there already foreigners living there, and is it easy to integrate? Or
it is actually not difficult to integrate as soon as you again speak the language. You should think about that many Swedish people are living here, many other foreigners from the Balticum, East Europe, South Europe. And I think it's also very important to remember that right now many people would like to move to Norway, and there is a big competition for the jobs available. Between 8 and 10,000 Dutch people are living in Norway right now. Some in big cities, and some in very small villages. So it's really depends on what you want to do yourself.
But speaking about the language, would you say it's essential to know Norwegian before you apply for a job, or is there a part of the jobs market where you can English get around with?
Actually, quite important. Let's say very important right now. Also, because I want all job seekers to win from the other job seekers applying for jobs in Norway right now. And I know in the Netherlands there are a lot of places you can study the Norwegian language already before you enter Norway. So don't wait. Start yesterday, and that will really increase your chances to get a job here.
And how's living condition? I mean, housing. Is it difficult to find an apartment in Oslo, for example, or?
Most people own their houses in Norway, but there is a big rental market as well. But it's very uncommon to rent. So it's not difficult to find an apartment or a house if you are a whole family. But remember that it's very, very expensive to rent. So I hope all people living and moving here that they soon find their own house, because it's very expensive to buy a house as well.
Can you give us an example? I know. Are you situated in Oslo or?
Yeah, I'm living in an apartment in Oslo, and to be very honest, I can share that. That's no secret. I'm paying like 1,000 euros for an apartment in Oslo without any other cost. So I have like in addition the electricity and the heat and everything. So it's very expensive.
And how big is that? Is like.
It's 70 square meters, but normally it's the same price for a smaller apartment. So I would say between 10 to 12,000 crowns is average for Norway, for Oslo, if you want to have an apartment.
Are there important information that you wish to share to a potential job seeker?
I think if you really would like to work in Norway, try to learn the language in Holland. Go on holiday sometimes here, also in the winter time. Be social, be proactive, make your network, use your network. And I think you also should know that Norwegian employers are still a little skeptical to hire foreign job seekers sometimes. So be aware that you have to be so direct as you are, because the Dutch people are very, very direct. But take into consideration that that the employer will probably take some time to get used to hire foreign employees, and that's in all different areas. It's not because they don't like foreigners. I think they still think it's very exotic.
And is it a difference because now Norway is not a part of the EU, but the Netherlands is. Do you think it's easier if you're an EU citizen than if you come from outside of Europe?
From my personal opinion, I think it all has to do in how well you speak the language already and how well you adapt to Norway.
Thank you very much for this very wise advice.
Thank you.